All right, we're gonna get started. I know because Shield Tank we got a little less people here than usual, but we're gonna start anyways. This is a recording space, and thanks for everyone that's joining. This is the third official Revolt VC, just to educate cult mentors and revolters on how to apply the rules of engagement to proposals. Um, I know that some people also want this recorded, so I did that, and hopefully, that the people that are going to take this dial serious are showing up now and are going to show up to that later. So, um, let me unmute my special guest here. All right, a little bit of background on me. This is Alley Cat. Been in cult for quite a bit. Been in Revolt since the very beginning, and kind of just um, um, you know, just clung to Revolt a little bit more, just for the physical part of it, of actually doing things, and being rewarded for that. I'm a Revolt admin, veteran, father. I don't consider myself a crypto person. I just am in crypto. I'm just a person like a lot of you that might be unhappy with the way the world's going, and if we can actually stand our ground and make a difference, that's why I'm here. I'll introduce my special guest is, they're different names, but Tink is for the shortest. Introduce yourself, Tink. And I didn't unmute you. All right. There you go.
Mister, can you hear me?
Yep, hear you fine.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this off. Hold on. I am Turns to Gold on Telegram. I'm Lambolicious on Twitter, and you can call me Tink. I've been in crypto since late 2016, so I've been through a lot. And I got in cult right like the day before it took off in like March, and then I've been in Revolt since the beginning. I'm an opt-in cult member since they opened the opportunity up, and I'm here just like everybody else for all of the reasons that we're all here to. Hopefully, we reach one goal together to make our lives a lot better and the lives of everybody else a lot better. So, um, yeah,
No,
that's
no, definitely. So Tink had reached out to me. I get DMs from others that they have concerns about how things are going, and I just felt like we were on the same page here, and I invited her to speak today. So she was a little nervous, but it's all good. It's only my third time doing a VC, so we're
I
gonna wing it.
appreciate it.
Haha, I appreciate you.
Um,
So like I said, the purpose here is educating cult manders and revolters on how to apply the rules of engagement to proposals. I think it's really easy to say, hey, you should put a proposal. Hey, go put a proposal in, without some education, because without establishing a base here, it's just going to be chaos. I think with Modulus coming out, we're going to get a lot more hype on Revolt and a lot more users. And, you got to establish some rules here. Otherwise, it just makes it harder. It makes it harder for cult managers to quickly go through proposals. We can have up to 1,000 at a time, every 5 days. So it can get crazy. And so taking the personal part out of it and just looking at the evidence and comparing it to the guidelines that Mr. O gave us in the rules of engagement, it can speed things up and make it easier. Also for revolters, because they can see what the expectations are. They are guidelines. The DAO can evolve, but starting somewhere is the best idea, in my opinion. Um, so why? We're going to provide some structure, which will make it easier for cult managers, revolters, be able to vote faster and submit faster. Um, so here's a big one. Stopping, bad proposals. So a bad proposal is it can lower the bar and demotivate good people. It's not just the money that gets removed from the treasury, but with like anything in life, a job, when the bar is lowered, people start adapting to that lower bar, and then you have less creativity. The people that have been doing, putting more effort in are not going to put that same effort in if we're passing everything. Everyone's going to be moving to that lower bar, and it's not good. It's not helpful to grow as the type of DAO that we are. Like I said, we're small now, but expecting big growth in the future. So establishing some base knowledge here, and just comparing things again to the rules of engagement is just going to help all of us. So my goal with some of these is just to keep talking about proposals and how they compare to the rules of engagement, and to do that every week. So I selected a few. There are going to be some that maybe don't meet the rules of engagement, and some that do, and just to help more people understand how to apply the rules of engagement to a proposal. It's just going to help to streamline everything. So without further ado, if anyone wants to, I did post, these are 4 pictures, is roughly the 4 reward breakdowns in the rules of engagement for proposals. So I did post those. You can see it. And so I selected a few, and if anyone wants to follow along, they can. Hopefully this loads. Acts of Revolt. All right, excuse me. So first one I wanted to cover, and their evidence is already, it is not showing up, and I'm not currently a cult manager, but I assume it did show up at the time, and that's Act 1369. So this is going to be a completed proposal from last round. Let's see if I can find it. 1369. This is Cult Revolt dollars, flyers, spread Cult Revolt for, I think it was 0.1 ETH. All right, so instead of me doing all the talking, why don't you talk about what you don't see about this one that works, if you want to.
Okay, I just want to say first that we're not here to demean anybody or say that what they feel like is good is not good or anything like that. We're just here to kind of help and guide um people so that they can know that they may need to be doing some things differently to get their proposals passed. Um with this
100%.
one, I love the dollar bills. Everybody likes a funny bill and all that stuff, but in all of the proposals that I've seen, this person, I'm not even sure remember the name of the person, but that's neither here nor there. But I just see that these bills are just taken and kind of just thrown in the street, in places that look very deserted. Um, and then you start to think that what's around, there's really no evidence, any pictures submitted that even show people around or anything like that. So I'm thinking as a cult mender in the back of my head that you okay, these bills are great and they're all over the ground, but if those bills are in a deserted place, they're just going to be flying around when the wind blows. They're going to wind up in people's yards and stuff. People are going to just pick them up and throw them in the trash because it's debris. Um, I think that if they could maybe do it in places that there's a lot of people or something, and maybe not just throw them all over the ground, maybe place them in places that they're not going to just fly everywhere, that might work. But I like the concept, but I don't think that the way that they're distributing these dollar bills or whatever that you want to call them I don't think is a good idea because I really don't see the value in that, and
Oh,
for what they're asking for, like every cycle. I
yep.
mean, maybe the first cycle, point 1, since you're only getting 40%, maybe that'll cover your cost of printing or something like that and give you a little extra. But I don't see that for every cycle. And then I don't see it just for having it like laying around where people aren't even there. So I don't know.
All right. So I'm going to read part of the rules of engagement. I'm going to read the 0.5 ETH section because that's what it was originally for. Mr. O himself had reduced that though to a 0.1 for stickers and pamphleting, but I'm going to read that. This is for taking physical action to spread the cult manifesto, and that's where the 0.5 ETH differs from anything below it, is the physical part of it. Physical action to spread cult manifesto and to spread the messages of revolt to earn. This could be a day or weekend of leafleting, stickering, protesting, or other peaceful yet important action to make cult visible to people in real life, as well as online, and spreading it to those who are not spending as much time online. There should be no town or city anywhere in the world where you cannot see physical evidence that the cult army is in fact in everybody's backyard. So a lot of people didn't like or don't like stickering, leafleting. I'm fine with it if it's done right. So I feel the same way as Tink here is, and you can tell this person hasn't, again, I don't want to go to the person. It's just the evidence doesn't, doesn't convey what we were expecting here. Because it's barren, it's desolate. You don't see another soul. We don't see pictures of a whole section, a whole basket full of these dollars. We see a picture of them here. They could easily be just picked up right away, put somewhere else down, and have another picture taken. I like these dollar bills still also, but I would want to see something like done with those, with the huge, basket, dump them all over, dump them in the middle of the town, just make a big spectacle of it than a few here and there. So we keep seeing this one, and that's why I brought this one up. And I just want, in my opinion, it's not worth paying for. I don't think it's reaching anyone. So we can move on to another one though. Let's see here. All right, now I don't know let me look at who's in here, if JP end up joining, because, this is his proposal, and I wouldn't mind if he wanted to step up. Let me see. Is JP in here? No. All right, so I'm looking at now at Act 1378. It's a Cult Dial Poker one. Let me bring it up. 1378 should be in pending. All right. So this one was a really cool one, and I just don't see the amount that he's asking for, that the evidence correlates to it. So he says, I've been navigating people to the cult DAO since June 2022 using my PokeStars chat box and avatar, and I've been onboarding people and executing the first rule cult talk about cult since I joined. I want to make this a weekly event that the fam can tune into and share their comments for the chat box. So if we go to the evidence, he just got his a one tweet about it, and there's a screenshot there. So I'm gonna read the first tier of the rules of engagement here. For 0.1 and 0.25. These two tiers will generally be for internet-based actions at the lower end of the spectrum, but still needed in mass amounts as keyboard warriors. Not in the liberal, I am offended sense of the word, but in spreading the cult manifesto, cult revolt, and making the world aware that they can revolt to earn. These actions are extremely important, however, do not carry a large amount of risk toward the individual due to some small semblance of free speech. Please take into account the resources and time you have spent and provide as much data or imagery, screenshots, etc. of activity. Tweeting or talking about cult and revolt alone is not enough cause for a reward. This is because it is your protocol. You should want to be pumping your own bags. If you feel your actions have gone above and beyond, you have spent additional time, resources on the mission at hand, then submit. Now we're gonna, so he asked for 1 ETH. We're going to read uh, the 1/8 section. These are for actions which will and could likely lead to both positive and negative attention from the media and authorities. Here's a list of things that I personally would not support or agree with, and some metaphorical ideas of where focus could be better spent. I don't know if it's worth reading some of this. No physical harm, public services. So basically that first paragraph sums it up. Uh, Likely lead to both positive and negative attention from the media. So when I look at this proposal, I immediately, like I said, go to the lowest tier. If he provided more analytics of, navigating people to it, that we could see. Uh, in the rules of engagement, it mentions, YouTube videos are a great place for that. People can actually see the clicks and see people visiting the site. Right now in this evidence, it's not enough in my opinion. He also mentioned he worked tirelessly for 16 hours navigating people. Again, it needs some evidence there to see that. It is a game. I just don't know what he actually did for the 16 hours. So that's one. It's great. It's really cool. I like it. I don't understand the 1/8 request for that one.
I
Um,
agree
yeah,
on
go ahead.
that. Yeah, I agree on that. I just think that when people are submitting proposals, you need to put as much information as possible because I know JP. I think he's a great guy. Everybody
Hmm.
that's reading these things don't know who JP is or anything like that. So he could be anybody. He could be somebody that's just abusing the whole system. People don't know that. So when people are putting in their things, they need to put as much everything that they can throw in there to be more clear for everything. Then we won't have to guess. So
No, great point. That's where, I had made a post after our first meetings was that to look at the act, rewarding acts and not people. Again, we could have 1,000 of these. We can't look at the people themselves. We just got to look at the evidence. Does it match? Does it make sense? And then move on. Can't spend that much time. That's where the revolter can make it easier by providing as much evidence as they possibly can, and ask questions if you don't know what to provide there. So, all right, we can move on to another one here. How about we look at 1386? So I wanted to do some good ones too. I'll let I guess Citizen Kane wanted to say something here. Let's see.
Hey, Alec.
Go. Yeah. Hey, go ahead. I'm gonna just look up this proposal here.
Sure. As for JP's proposal, I didn't necessarily know he put one up, but I just heard it mentioned here. He has spoken on this in Twitter Spaces. I don't know if anybody from in here has listened in, but what he's got going on is he plays in tournaments where the cult mask gets displayed within the big game. So when he's playing the game and playing poker, um, he's got the Colt Dow insignia as his character, but he's involved with some games and I'm sorry he didn't provide stats, but um, if anybody knows Poker Stars, they bring in a huge amount of visitors per game. So there's a lot of eyeballs that get to view that cult mask, and also he has the ability to link into people outside of the game to display advertisements and um, like what we would do for a tweet, he can do on the game and display sponsorships and stuff like that. So he's asking for a sponsorship for his poker game.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really wish we could see that in the evidence, I guess, without knowing him personally or hearing more about it personally. Yeah, it'd be great to see. Again, I think it's awesome
I do too. I do
because it's
too.
just one other avenue to get people to see it.
Yeah, if he could add more stats and stuff like that, I don't, you know, that would be amazing because I think it's a great idea. I think what he's
Yeah.
doing is awesome.
Yeah, to say, all right, to show how many people in a room, there's got to be something to be able to see that as somewhere that he could show that for the
Right.
future, anyways. Or he could even make a post about it now and do that if he felt like it. All right, I'm going to look at 1386. Not all negative. I just want to show good too. 1386 says all about cult. Thanks. So he did flyers, we did stickers, and then he also is now providing food and juice to people. That's where I think this was posted on Twitter. So I'm going to quick look at the evidence here. So this guy's been around for a while. I'm a person that is fine with pamphleting. I kind of think of it like, in the U.S. anyways, you get a lot of you can get advertisements in your mailbox. So this is without paying a postal worker to deliver. This is a person who's creating it and hand delivering a lot. This guy always provides a lot of photos. So it's going door to door and giving these really cool cult flyers out. So I think it's a small price to pay for someone that's getting physically active and going around their towns and doing that. I kind of think of and he, yeah, and he added it's usually point one. He is doing the food part too, delivering to people, so that's where he asked a little bit more. But I think of something like this, like say you wanted to reach a whole town and you wish you could get a piece of paper in every single person in that whole town. So to me, this is, you could be paying kids to do this kind of stuff, but it's a small amount. You could reach a whole town for a couple $1,000s, say. I think that something like that is worth it. No one else is going to do that. If you wanted to print and pay someone else to do that, you'd be paying a lot more, and you can reach thousands and thousands of people. So to me, if pamphleting done right is I'm all for it. So we did read the section, the 0.5 East section about taking physical action to spread, and that's where a proposal like this is relating to directly to the rules of engagement. So I like that. I like to see good ones there. Tank, I can bring up more unless you had one that you wanted to bring up.
I wanted to bring up 1392. It was for um let me find it. Um
Oh, Inspect to Revolt. Yeah.
yeah, Inspector Revolt. I really like that proposal. I like the fact that they put the amount of time that they're asking for funding for a month. I think that it's very fair, and what they do is amazing. It helps us out a lot as cult menders, and it helps the whole community see if something comes up that's good or bad or anything. So I really like that one, and it's concise, it's straight to the point. It makes life easier. Really, I really like it.
Yeah, no, and if anyone doesn't know Inspect to Revolt, they've been around since the very beginning and just took on trying to find scams, trying to find people that are, faking the evidence, maybe stealing other people's work, and other things behind the scenes. So before I Revolt or before I vote, I always check their Twitter account and see if they're tagging anything bad out there. And so I do have their Twitter in one of my pins in the Revolt Telegram. So yeah, it's good to see someone like that just continually being there, and someone that you can rely on.
Yeah, it really takes a lot of time to read through everything and cross-check everything, and that takes a lot of time. I really think that they should be asking for more, but I think it's great. It helps us out a lot. We really appreciate you, whoever you are.
Yeah, like you said, very, very fair amount asking there. How about 1391? This is pamphleting in a grocery store. It's a re-proposal. I guess it failed last cycle and he's resubmitting it. This is one that I keep seeing, and I personally don't like it, and I'll explain why. So again, this is like pamphletings, spreading that out. But instead of going door to door, he's just dropping them off in a grocery store. There's no evidence that it's not just one picture that he keeps moving and taking a picture of. I don't think that piece of paper in a grocery store itself is the best way to reach someone, rather than actually, at in their post, in their mailbox. I could see, I think we had talked previously, but I think Tink mentioned, when you kind of see something like that, you could just, especially as a store, you're going to immediately grab that and throw it away. I don't think store shoppers are looking at that. So I just don't feel it's the right avenue for that. So I really wish he could, if it's legit, just take it somewhere else other than this grocery store. But we keep seeing this one come through, and the only way to make changes is to vote something down, and it's going to make that person try to think outside the box, or change it up a bit.
To add to that, I mean, I own a store, so if there was like a million flyers like all over the store, they're gonna wind up all over the floor again. You're just gonna be pissed because you have to pay somebody to clean it up. One. Number two, when you do a resubmission, you probably need to resubmit it with a little something different. He keeps submitting the same exact thing. I mean, if it doesn't pass, that means you probably need to do something a little different. So with every resubmission, I think you should do something a little bit. Just think about it, rethink what you're doing, and then resubmit it. It might go through the next time. But yeah, I think it would be better for the flyers look amazing. They have a lot of information on them. They're very, very attractive, but maybe he should hand them out to the people in the store instead of just laying them all over the store. I think he's going to waste a lot of money taking the time to print this up and do all this for them to be thrown in the trash because they're going to be all over the floor.
Oh, no, good point. It's kind of like it's picking the environment. Like we talked about the other proposal with the dollar bills just on the ground, and not seeing the reward from the Dow from it. Just better environment. Zoom, and we had talked about this previously at other meetings, is to zoom out, give everyone an idea where you are. We're inside of a store, close up. How about the block, the town? To understand the environment a little bit better would help, in my opinion. Okay, let's see here. Maybe I'll cover one more. All right, I'm gonna look at 1383 here. All right, Act 1383. Let's find that. Revolt Google Ads to move forward. All right. So I do like that it's a different idea, but if I'll read it a little bit. Hello, this is Awasika here. I want to propose my ongoing acts, my smart campaign through Google Ads. Maybe you are aware that I am also a digital marketer and ads creator. I market other business through ads on Google, and I got enough leads for doing that. We know that Google is one of the most visited sites, and I know this is the easiest way to spreading Revolt worldwide. So Google Ads, but if we go to the evidence links though, so we have some static images. This is where the evidence really needs, I like the idea, but these 3 pictures that he provides, for one, people can fake this kind of stuff. 2, there's no receipts or cost that he's putting into it. 3, there's no analytics to see, did he get hits? Can he show us that they're actually working? So that's where great proposal, but it's lacking evidence. It's lacking proof that it matters. That it's worth investing in. So that's my take on that one.
Yeah, it doesn't really show much, just some screenshots of stuff, and um, that's it.
Yeah.
No analytics at all or anything like that. So again, with anything that you put through for a proposal, you should put everything you can in there, just like you would on a job application or application for a house or anything. You need to put everything, because if you have to go back and forth, that's just taking more time, and yeah, it might not even pass when you get done. So just try to put everything in. And then another thing, I encourage everybody to just read through the rules of engagement. Even if you have to write down stuff and write your idea down and tick it off to make sure it's passing the criteria for what you're wanting, that'll help yourself a lot too. And then it'll cut down some of the confusion, because some people are taking this personally, and it's not personal. It's not
Nope.
personal at all.
Nope. So I'm going to read a part out of one of our mediums, and it's called Proposal Rules. Just going to read a little bit about that. Read the rules of engagement linked at the bottom of this article before ever submitting a proposal. This gives guidelines on what can be considered at each ETH denominated amount. Think to yourself as you submit, would I pay somebody to do this if it was my own money? If the answer is no, you should not submit at all or reduce the amount. And that's just taking pride and ownership in the DAO. We don't, the whole point is to, pay people that can spread the message. So if the evidence or you don't think it's worth paying someone to spread that message, then the act itself is just, there's no point in approving it. If you're unsure whether the amount you're asking for is too much, it probably is. You only have the chance to submit once every 5 days, so it is best to go for the lower amount if you are on the fence, and it is likely to clear much quicker. Remember when approving that the end user only receives 40% of what they request, so asking for 1.5 ETH is the same as asking for 0.6 ETH, or 0.25 ETH, 0.1, etc. If you scoff at an action somebody has taken and think that's not worth that, think to yourself, have I actually gotten off my arse to do something better? Or am I just saying it's not worth it, when in reality, if you paid me X amount to do something, I wouldn't be arsed? Don't dismiss how much confidence it takes to actually get somebody involved and out onto the streets. Be respectful. We need to incentivize people to get out there and talk about Cult and Revolt. Telling them that their efforts are pathetic or their expectations are crazy may stop them completely. Speak to people with respect and come to an agreement on realistic expectations. Remember, Cult and Revolt are apolitical. If an action is for or against a certain ideological viewpoint you hold or you do not agree with it, you can vote no. However, expecting everybody to submit proposals that conform to one ideological viewpoint in a protocol that attracts revolutionaries is simply nonsensical. Let the cult manders debate, and if it is not your turn to be a cult mander, respectfully stay out of it and trust that 500 people can come to a sensible consensus between them. If they don't, well, they are replaced in a maximum of 10 days after this first quote mistake anyways. So I just want to read a little bit about that. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, that's what I wanted to cover. If anybody else wanted to step up and just, talk, bring up any of your concerns you had, why you want, anything, please feel free to do that. Or raise your hand, or I can open it up. But we want input from the community. One of the biggest things we're lacking, I feel, is creativity. And as I talked about lowering the bar, some proposals can lower the bar. Having creative proposals can raise that bar. And when you have, for instance, 20 proposals that are the same type, it's going to be best to stand out and help raise that bar for others. It's just going to help us, reach more people and have other people see us and see what we can do. I also mentioned in the past to be really nice, people that are submitting proposals, to spread it in other ways. You're doing it, that's fine in a closed system, but put it on Twitter, put it in other places. So I'm seeing more of that, so that's awesome. So for instance, we're seeing more food proposals. So that's fine in itself. The way I think of it, advertising to the actual homeless person, they're not going to be buying crypto. So advertising it in other ways by putting it on Twitter, that's where you're getting it to. That's where you're getting that message spread to the actual people you're providing. No, but you can help spread it in other ways, and people would love to see it, and other communities, can see that and be intrigued. So, if you're making a proposal, get it out there, get it on Twitter. So that'd be my advice.
I agree.
If no one's gonna raise their hand, I'm just gonna unmute everybody, and feel free to express yourself. Torius, thanks for joining us as always.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming, Notorious.
We got Sheeb in here. He's been a long time Revolter, created some neat onboarding stuff.
I see a lot of cool people in here.
Mad Coltish, go ahead, man.
Hey, you guys, this is my first time tuning in, and I really like it. I really like going through some proposals and having the discussion about it. It's been really helpful. I was thinking, and this is probably something that's already been brought up before, and I just missed it. And this just speaks generally for people that are pamphleting, stickering, and all that kind of stuff. Is like, I consider myself like a decently smart person. But even for me, like getting into crypto, it wasn't easy, right? And I'm just wondering, like, it's cool that like links the manifesto and people might be like, oh cool, Colt DAO. But like, is there anything that we can do to help get them to learn how to set up a wallet, like get their first crypto if it's their first one, right? Because if it's true, like 5% of the world is in crypto, that means 95% of the people, like theoretically, don't have any crypto. So I don't know what everyone's thoughts are on that.
No, great. I know some in the community have created some onboarding thing. I think Crypto actually made some stuff. Yeah, that's a big one. The easier you can make it to onboard, the better. So yeah, that's if people can create more guides for getting in the crypto is great. And one tip I've read before was, when onboarding newbies in the crypto itself, don't worry about trying to get them in your coin. Buy this one, buy this one. That can be turning off. Just start slowly, just step by step, just getting them in the door. Then you can, show your stuff and tell them how amazing what we do is. But just helping people in general first about crypto itself, I think is a great start.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be really helpful. I don't know how it would go about that. I think maybe the stickers might be a little too small. Like it has room for maybe like one QR code. But pamphlets, if there's any link to a website that is helpful for onboarding people or someone wants to make their own, that could be pretty good.
No,
On that note, I
100%.
was thinking about linking to like a Discord channel, even in Culture Revolt. That way, people can organically respond. Right. So then it's dynamic information. It's not like a list of things to do. And yeah, that's a really, really good idea. Like if it's going to spread, then that's how to do it.
Yeah, I like that idea because if they come into our community, we're also passionate and helpful. Like they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, and how satisfying would that be if you're like, oh, they scanned my QR code. Look, I have evidence that.
Yeah, and then we actually have real evidence that someone is using it. Like at this point, we don't really know if people are buying more Cult or Revolt as a result of these actions.
No, 100%. We did touch on that. I think in our first meeting was trackable QR codes. They can be made just as easy as regular QR code stickers and pamphlets. So that would only help a revolter to provide evidence, only helping them get their act passed. Like, hey, what I did got this many views or got this many clicks. Yeah.
No, I really like that idea, and this is probably a question already asked too, but does it register to different IP addresses, or is it just every time someone loads the website? Because someone could just like scan it themselves.
Right. I thought about that too, and I doubt it's IP specific. It's just gonna, yeah. So that would be something to think about because yeah, someone could just scan it a million times all on their own. Yep. Same idea. Someone's brought up before. Hold on. I don't know who was talking. Someone's brought up before about, even providing some incentive. Hey, you get $5 if you click and sign up and get you all in your own wallet and all that. And that'd be even better. You getting someone to go through so many steps and a little reward to it. There's just got to be a way to not abuse that kind of a system, and then find the funding for it also.
I like that.
Well, a lot of
One thing.
oh, sorry, real quick, and then I'll be totally done. Uh, a lot of these exchanges, like Coinbase, for example, like you have a referral code and people can sign up through that, and that's even better evidence to show that like people are really engaging in crypto, and plus you benefit from it because you get probably like a $5 reward.
Yeah, again, I know this idea has been brought up just a long time ago. I just never see it happen. But yeah, it's so hard to get you know crypto newbies into crypto. There's already so much fear and FUD that's out there relating to crypto period. So getting them started, getting it, they automatically get a little crypto to just get in is it's just a huge step. Um,
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's got
yeah.
to start incentive on these vouchers or coupons or leaflets or whatever you're handing out. um, those are to the masses, and I think if it, like you said, Ali, it's about the funding. If we can fund it, that's gonna join people in the masses, because that ultimately is gonna it's gonna make people log in and look into it. Without that, I think it's just another bit of junk mail. Um, in all honesty. So that's what I think we need to work on. Is even if it, I mean, for some people, even a couple of dollars. So if you hand out 1,000 pamphlets, um, that's a couple of $1,000. It's not much out of the treasury. If you can, if you can sacrifice what you've been rewarded for that act of revolt for just one time, um, that could be quite, you know, I mean, it not in terms of um, in, invest investment from the people that you've handed the pamphlets to, but the word of mouth that comes from that could be quite powerful. Um, but to get that, I mean, we've got to be realistic here, though. A couple of dollars, if they really want to use the DAO, they need a little bit more than that. If they want to stay, uh, you know, there's all kinds of things like that to think about. But I think if we want to get the message out to, to the masses, who really sort of deserve, you know, a better life. We need to fund that somehow. That, that that's what we need to work on, I think.
No, I hear you. We need the method. I think if you have one method that can then be shared and used by everyone that is doing that type of those acts, and they can just use that QR code or that method, um, would be great. Yeah, we just need the big brains to think and how to get that something like that done. But then that could be shared exponentially with revolters. Very good.
Yeah, it's a really good thing to bring up. Uh,
Right. There, there's lots of things out there to bring people into things, and you get a little reward for it. So I think we need to make that happen.
yeah, but when it comes, like you brought up before, like when it comes to bringing new people in, um, I think it, it it's a worthwhile investment to sacrifice a lot of money from the blockchain to actually, like, especially in these times of the market, to actually just airdrop and give away to new people, so that, like, the first step will be to sort of set them up with a wallet. That's like ultimately the first sort of um, stepping stone into introducing new people to the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we need to, like you said, fund some kind of sacrifice from the market cap on the entire blockchain, um, the market cap of the entire cryptocurrency um, 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 market cap, to just give away to newbies, and that ultimately will bring people to the blockchain. And I think without that, I think you're right. It's it's going to be too difficult to, well, not too difficult, but very difficult to
Just
onboard.
slower. Yeah, a lot slower.
Yeah,
Yeah, if the method can be created, then a proposal can easily be made to just fill that funding account. Um, if the correct method that wouldn't be abused could be created, I think we could, we could fill a separate treasury for that with a proposal, in my opinion.
yeah, we could. And I mean, you're right there. It's slower. I mean, I've onboarded lots of people, but I mean, I mean, people have said this before. It's like you, for newbies, you've got to sit them down, and you've got to walk them through from step one to step like seven or
Mm-hmm.
eight. And there's complications on the way. The people need to sort of learn this for themselves, unless you've got a lot of time to sit them down. And I mean, that one-to-one tuition, it takes time. So, I mean, if
No,
you
for
can
sure.
keep,
It's not an easy process to get into crypto. It really isn't. There's so much to learn. Yeah.
it's not. So we need that sort of incentive to sort of make people think, whoa,
Hey, JP.
I've got some money here, so I'll look into this and I'll look, you know, where does it start? Oh, what's this? Cult DAO. Oh, okay, so I've got this much money in Cult DAO. So how do I get this money out of Cult DAO, or what can I do with this Cult DAO? You know what I mean? You need to give that. We need funding for that, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a really good meta point. Quick, I have a request because I've heard you make really good like strategic points before. I don't know if there's a way for you to change how you're speaking into the microphone, just so that I can always hear your points, and everybody else can. 'Cause I love what you say.
Um, is, is that any better?
I don't think so, but if you try stuff and keep speaking, maybe then I can tell you.
Is that any better?
So I hear you fine. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't do really much more, to be honest. I've I've not got a
I
headset or
gotcha.
anything like that. I'm just on my phone. Um,
It might be mostly me. Perhaps if I changed my setup a bit, but yeah,
yeah,
thanks for trying, dude, and really great point about quality early on having massive effects for people.
Yeah, it looks like Tink also says she can barely hear JP. I don't know. I hear you just fine, so I don't know. I don't know what to say with that.
You have extremely good
Uh,
hearing, my friend. It's an alley
I
cat, as it were.
don't know. I'm in a headset. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. I think I need a headset. Sorry about that, guys.
I've
It's
got
okay.
them.
So
You have really good ideas. That's also I always want to hear.
yeah, and it looks like she posted his how-to step guide, and I've seen this. This has been a past proposal. Um, so if you can see that in the traffic in here, Sheeb, he has posted his step-by-step guide of setting up a crypto wallet. So if stuff like that can be used by anyone, please grab it and share it and use it.
Yeah. I
I
I
know
also
I've screen. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I want to implement that into my weekly live poker night. Uh, I've not set it up yet, but I've got a proposal in for what I've been doing since 2022 June. It was actually I set it up on my birthday on the 5th of June, 2022. But I've never ever been able to put in a proposal because I've never been able to stake my Revolt because I've never used a cold wallet. So for a long time I wasn't able to sort of use the Revolt staking system, and all I had to do, if it's, I hope it's helpful for somebody else who's struggling with this, but all I had to do was send my Revolt to a cold wallet and stake it from there. So this week I've put in a proposal for a live poker event um, once a week that the Cult DAO fam can tune into and um, send over their suggestions to put in the chat box just to shill cult and get people on the blockchain and to to shield cryptocurrency in general. Um, it's worldwide. Um, it live. I mean, at any one
All right.
time.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you some questions. We did, I guess maybe you joined later. We did talk about your proposal a little bit, and the biggest takeaway from me was I want to see more evidence of what you're doing. Your description, you talked about some things, but so even now, you're talking about these comment boxes and stuff, and just no one sees this or understands it quite yet. And I wish you provided some analytics of, say, how many people throughout what you're doing, of how many people you're in contact with, how many I don't know if you can see how many people that actually click something or see something or
But I
the
mean,
biggest thing was lack of evidence to actually understand how you're actually reaching people
yeah.
other than
Um,
the one screenshot.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up there. I think with the Poker Stars thing, if you unless you keep up with it live, you sort of miss out on that. And I do I've already spoken about this. I do need some sort of support in. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. Um, you know, I work with my hands, so to make this live, this is an upcoming thing. It's something I've been doing on my own. And unless you're tuned in live, it's sort of hard to sort of prove what you've been um, sharing with the world in terms of the chat box. Me and Exo was talking about this, and it is hard to um, concentrate on the game at the same time as you know like doing your utmost and your absolute like going all out there to shill cult on the chat box. So it's something that you know I've been doing my best on my own with. um
Hmm.
it's not something that I can show you like now, but like I've been doing it since 2022 of June, and um, we need the collaboration of the fam and somebody who could sort of help me sort of. I don't know how we would film it live, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
is this on a PC
it
or
it
is it
would be
mobile?
no, it'd be on a PC.
Okay, now that I don't know. I know mobile you can do on smartphones. You can do a screenshot videos, and it just shows everything on your screen. Um, not
Well, I mean,
not
I
sure
don't need
offhand on.
what I need is I mean, Exos has already started sort of storing messages to sort of put out there in the chat box because I've said to him while you're playing poker, I mean, the ultimate goal is to make money for the DAO. Um,
Hmm.
not only in um, onboarding people, but making money on the tables also. So my sort of job is to make money on the tables, but the fam's job is to send me the messages just to sort of copy and paste
Right.
so that I'm not losing concentration in the game, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. No, I completely understand. So, again,
So
my
you,
advice is just try to get more evidence for people to understand it. You might perfectly understand what you're doing, but the act itself, it just needs to convey that and to make it simpler for people to understand how you're actually reaching people. I think it's an awesome idea. Just the icon alone, just playing with that icon as your avatar, awesome idea. I just think the evidence needs to somehow show how it's worth the 1 ETH, how you're actually reaching people.
Yeah.
That's my take and input on that one.
Yeah. And JP, thank you for coming on and explaining to us, because we were looking for you. So I'm glad you got to come on and talk about what we were talking about. Explain it more to us. Citizen helped you out though.
Yeah, thanks for that. Turns to gold, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's as I said, like it's something that I've been doing my best with. It's very, very hard to sort of bring up that evidence from what I've been doing prior to now. But it's something to watch out for, and something that like is gonna be a good marketing. I I mean, on PokerStars at any one time, there's 200,000 people tuned in. So it depending on what game you choose to play, how many tables you choose to play on, um, like that is a massive, massive marketing sort of ploy that
Opportunity there, yeah, for sure.
it's a big opportunity for the massive numbers. Um, the more people you can get to, the better. And these people, I mean, let's be honest. If you're, this is why it's important to sort of talk about it. I mean, I've just been sort of dipping in and out of poker with my avatar and mentioning cult, you know, the most I can, on my own, whilst not, whilst winning or trying to win.
Hmm.
It's hard, you know what I mean? So, um, it depends on. I mean, it depends on what games you play. I mean, you could play a tournament, um, with a lot of people in, but at the same time, you're only playing 9 people, and you only switch tables every now and then. But if I've got help from the community to send me those messages, I could play 9 tables at a time with 6 players per table. So you're collaborating with 60 players per time, per you know, at at any one time. And those tables switch to another 60 players every sort of 5 or 10 minutes. So every 5 or 10 minutes, you're collaborating with another 60 to 120 people. Um,
No, it sounds like a really cool
you know,
idea. And it's just one more way. There's so many different ways um, to reach people, and that's one. So I applaud the creativity there for sure. I want to ask just the
thank
community, is there anyone else that has any ideas, something they've been thinking about that they want to share, they haven't seen done, or even questions about doing something else? I think Artorias had asked me previously of, what kind of acts I would like to see. And the biggest one is what we haven't had happen yet, which is getting on the news. And there can be different ways to do that, but I think that'll be a game breaker if we can manage that somehow.
We should try to
But
figure out to do that on Eat Denver. That would be amazing.
ooh, news, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not sure yet. Other than
Like,
own internal news of something more than that.
Something to
Um,
think about for sure.
yeah, for sure. I'm gonna, you know, I've been saying this a lot now, but I'm a person that kind of likes to fill a need. If you got a number of people doing one thing, I want to do something different that's not being done. So my goal at ETH Denver is to represent Revolt more. I think we're going to be plenty of people talking about Colt. Not that I won't talk about Colt, but I just want to do what I can to bring some attention to Revolt. So just one of my goals, I do have it's not done yet, but I'm trying to get the 3D printed cult mask. But I do want to wear a Revolt cape, and that's just a walking advertisement. And what's Revolt? So little something I'm planning.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
We'll definitely know who you are.
Right. I mean, I basically, and I haven't finalized it, but Superman cape, but it's a Revolt cape, and again, it's a walking advertisement. So
It's gonna be awesome.
yeah, like I said, I just gravitated more towards Revolt. I like the action part of it, the people part of it. You know, we wouldn't have the problems that we have in this world if more people did stand up and actually do things and say no. So I just like the ability there that we're physically revolting. So
I think Denver is going to be a perfect place to showcase that. I mean, look where they've
no,
come to now. Is as far as everything that was federally against everything, now it's a big deal, and it's an amazing place. So I think that there's a lot of grassroots stuff there. So I think this is gonna be amazing.
there's plenty of projects that have zero utility, and within Cult DAO, every single project is utility. That's how we grow, how we move. That's how rewards are increased. It's all based on utility action. So yeah, I think we have a huge leg up on others because of our utilities.
We've got the most amazing community. Come on. We got the
Right.
best.
Yeah. No, for sure. And we're just getting started. The sky's the limit here. And if I've read a little bit before about what's in the rules of engagement. There is, we're scratching a surface of what can be actually created from this system. We're spreading the message here and there, but this can be used for grand level things.
Look at the projects that are coming to us and wanting to be a part of the ecosystem. I mean, you've got the TRG, you've got Bond. I mean, and there's going to be more. I think Harry's making something. So, uh, Wallet Port or something. So, yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful to see our own really getting into developing. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Really, I am.
No, we haven't seen anything yet. I think Maujus is going to really change the game there to see stuff that no one's even heard of start showing up and wanting to be a part of us. Huge. And it's all about decentralization. So being on Milogist and being more privacy focused, people, it's what's that sovereignty of owning your own money, being in charge of your own money more than anything else in the world, and doing what you want with it and not having all eyes on it. It's what we need desperately, and we're in the right place to make all those dreams come true.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then people still need to get ready to accept their freedom because that comes with a lot of responsibility. There's nobody to give you anything or make decisions for you. So you really have to be ready for it.
I agree. Okay. Unless we got
Hey,
more
man.
input,
Sorry,
someone
Adam.
always. No, go ahead. Don't be sorry. Go ahead.
No, there's a few points I was going to
Okay.
say about one. When JP was talking about the onboarding and that, I mean, we got Web3 wallet, and when it does launch, people can hold their cult, they can stake through the Web3 wallet. You can do everything the cult is through it anyway. So if there was going to be a setup where it's like go to one place and do everything, it's kind of something that that we could use that for. I mean, we've obviously got a large, I don't know what it was, 5 or 7 cent stake, with our funding for them as well in the proposal for Colt. So, it's worth looking down that avenue. I mean, I know they're coming out this year. I don't know when, but they're working on it.
All right, we're only making things easier and easier. So,
Yeah.
yep.
On the other side of things, I mean, proposal-wise, I'd like to see. I mean, I keep thinking, oh yeah, it'd be great to like project something against the Houses of Parliament over here, or someone project like V for Vendetta against Sydney Opera House with music blasting from a boat in the river or something. But at this point in time, as Revolt it does increase in value and Ethereum goes up and everything, some of these things are going to be doable. It just the equipment you need to do it to make it have any sort of impact. But if you could do that on sort of New Year's Eve, you'd get on the news.
Yeah, I think, and we don't know how the world's going to be evolving and changing. There's also the chance that we see worse things happen in the world and more reasons for the spicy actions parts of the rules of engagement to play out and to revolt in way more of a physical way, and with protests and other things like that, because that's another thing, being a part of protests, being organizing protests, those are acts of revolt, organizing people to revolt. So the world can change and can open up a lot, even more ways there.
There was a few months ago that were trying to sort of meet up and say, would everyone turn up in a cult mask and who could do it? But I know I never heard at the end of how it all went, or if it even did sort of happen in the end. Where there
Right.
were, I think it was
Yeah, I
protests in
think
London or something.
price action and the economic situation in the world doesn't help. So as that improves, I think more things will improve also.
It's definitely got scope, a lot of scope,
Yep.
a lot of potential. When uh, uh, as much as I see people being quite happy and thinking everything's turned around right now,
Yeah.
I genuinely, I do not believe for 1 second this is getting any better anytime soon.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm hinting at. Anything can happen, and it can turn to the worse again. So and way worse. We can see way worse.
I'll say,
Eh,
I mean, since you've been holding your spaces, I mean, I was just looking at the vote count now, and there's like only been about 40 votes proposal, a maximum, and
Uh,
for like, I mean, we're only got just over a day left of voting, and that's unusual. And I mean, I know I always leave mine as late as I can. I mean, I'll read them for over the 3 days, and I'll read them again, and I'll try and check out the people, check out the handles, check out everything else. But it just
yeah.
seems that
Okay.
actually people are kind of paying attention and looking and waiting and making sure. There's still the odd few that went through. I mean, the first sort of 20 votes just went boom, 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 boom. I haven't, obviously,
Yep.
I've not voted yet, so I haven't got a clue what they voted for.
No,
But
that's a good point. I do want to bring something up there. So for one, we are growing. The Colt Manners, in one of my pins, I put the current amount of Colt Manners based upon the votes, and that's just been increasing the last few weeks. For one, So that growth there is there. I usually vote later on after I give Inspect to Revolt some time to check things out. A lot of people jump the gun, and I kind of wait and take my time. Not that everyone has to do that. So I want to say we also had a test proposal last cycle. And one of our community members had submitted that, and the proposal just had a 1 in it. The description just had a 1 in it. The evidence just had the digit 1 in it. And just a little under 25% of our cult managers voted yes on that. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So for one, it shows there are some bad actors in the community. Not necessarily everyone that voted yes was a bad actor. That could just, it's education, or they just weren't sure or whatever. But it does show no matter what, there are those bad actors. So I wanted to reiterate the point that to combat that, the best thing we can do is increase our cult manders. So the more good ones will offset the power that that 25% has. And then after we get over 500, then it's all randomly chosen after that. So increasing our cult manor numbers is number one for limiting the power that bad actors have in here.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that totally. I mean, it'd be a shame because it means we look commander every week, but swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, I mean, other than the last two cycles here, I've stepped down so I could submit a proposal. But yeah, I've been cult manor for a while now too, so almost seen everything.
I was almost expecting it just to suddenly go flying again and go back up to the heights of like sort of 100 proposals to go through. Because once everyone knows money's in the treasury, sooner or later it's going to happen. And
we're seeing
nightmare.
And we're seeing those numbers increase. That's why it's so important to get organized now. We haven't seen anything compared to what this can do. And even at our peak of around 100 proposals or so, again, that's only 10% of what actually can be submitted. So that's why making it easier for cult manors with providing good evidence is going to give you the better odds of getting your proposal passed. And as we look through hundreds of proposals, the evidence is going to have to be clear, concise, so we can vote and move on. If you make it harder, it's just only going to hurt you in the end. So the better evidence, the better odds.
I mean, even with 10, it does take a long time. By the time you've looked at their Twitter handle, their Google Drive, their whatever they put out there to look at, it does take a lot of time.
Yep. It's very, it's very easy to say, yeah, the more we pass, the more money we make, but that's not how we grow. That's not how we're going to last here for a long time, by blowing through the treasury on wasteful things. Then we're going to be dead again. I've heard a community member before mention, oh, Mr. O is going to take care of us no matter what. That's not the right attitude. Our devs can step away right this second. They can do that. We have working machines. So if they do step away and we don't run it right, we're dead. We don't have a treasury. You're going to lose holders very fast when we have no money to reward people. So taking it seriously now is going to have so many benefits, long-lasting benefits in the future. So take pride. Cult managers really take pride in our treasury in this DAO, and vote accordingly.
And also, too,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
After you were first.
If you're a cult member too, and you're just kind of getting burnt out, don't hesitate to step away, because I know a lot of times it's, you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. It gets tiresome sometimes. So if you do feel like you're getting burned out, just skip one, or, just take a step back. Don't just vote for anything.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I so I think in general, right, this applies to a lot of different kinds of systems or communities. It's better to be consistently, quality, right, than push yourself so hard that then you have to take like a long time off and maybe you don't feel so good about the project. Maybe like the impetus or what you felt for it initially kind of like goes away, right? So it's kind of like summing across all those days where you were high quality but didn't burn yourself out, right? That can be a lot more effective than it all going away like in one short blast. And then the other thing I wanted to say, which is a bit of a psychological take, but it generalizes, and it's based on what Ali Cat said before. It's a lot harder to reverse a bad habit than to start a good one, right? I think this applies in all kinds of scenarios. Like uh, I've had bad habits before, and it takes years to reverse those, right? But like it can take whatever 25, 30 days to build a good one. So I'm saying that because the same thing applies in a system like this, where you're going to see a lot more people doing bad acts, right? If they see that as a model that they can replicate, once this is on modulus, right? And then for cult managers, right, it's going to be a lot harder to handle that. So it's like the time right now invests in the future and being able to handle things in the future, right?
No, very good point. It only makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say about that, but yeah, no, that's
It's what you said, just in different words, because I think we've all experienced that on personal levels. So same thing.
no, sure, and and then so here's something about reversing something, and you could say we're doing that a little bit now, of trying to crack down on some of these things and seeing some blowback in the community from that. So if we're consistent and we're basing something off of a set of guidelines which we're given, it's going to make it a lot easier in the long run to keep things going the right direction. You're going to have less people acting out, less fighting about it, because everyone's on board to run this the same way. So we're given these guidelines, they are still guidelines, and we can evolve from them, but you have to start with a base. You got to have to start with something here to compare things to.
100%, man.
So with like I said before, to talking to other people, hey, that's a good idea, submit a proposal. Really try to get the education part of it. I've posted this a lot, and it is pinned in one of my tweets. About it's roughly 4 pages out of the rules of engagement cover the 4 ETH breakdown reward categories. That's your guide. That's your baseline of understanding, is a proposal worth it or not. The other one is definitely read the proposal rules medium. It's just a lot of understanding there, so you can again start with some base level of understanding. So again, when talking to others, try to get that info to them before they submit. Also, if you can't reach me or others here, we're trying to get our Revolt Discord more active. It has places specifically to talk about new proposals and ask questions. It's what I did before I submitted my very first one. I went there and said, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's what I was going to ask. And I got direction, and I used that direction, then I submitted one. It's going to save you a headache when you understand what's expected. It's only going to help you get your proposal passed by talking about it. So education.
I was
It's like going
about
slow to go really fast, right?
this one you can go.
Oh, is that to me?
Yeah, you were talking. I was talking over you. So
Oh, geez, my bad. Nah, go slow to go really fast down the line. That's like what I always like to remember with this.
Oh, I see. Yeah. If you can establish the base of everyone understands it, then you can fly. Like I said, if cult manners and revolters are on the same page, then they're gonna be looking at the same way of basing the proposal off of, to critique it and to pass it or not. It's very simple when you understand, is it falling in this guideline somewhere, and then where that is, and if the amount that they're requesting falls in the right place, it's an easy yes. So yeah, so I'm gonna be I might do 2 a week. I know not everyone can get into these. I am recording it, but if I do one on the weekend, I could do it at a different time and reach other people around the world too. But kind of the same basis every one. Just want to keep going over the same things of comparing acts of revolt, whether good or bad, to the rules of engagement. So that's what I want to keep reiterating. And I just want more and more people talking and sharing ideas and concerns, and the more the better. So we're at 3:30. We're at an hour and a half right now. I was going to cut it short unless someone else wanted to bring something up, and I can always leave this open. I just had some other things I got to do, but I think I'll end this officially, and then anyone who feels like hanging out, just bullshitting, feel free. But yeah, thanks for everyone for